Hello and welcome to our review on finding percents for your final. So for the first half of the video, I'm going to do the method where we use the proportion part over whole equals the percent over 100. Now if you use the other method, go ahead and skip to halfway through the video. Find the halfway mark and just watch that part. For those that use this method, you're just going to watch the first half of the video as I go over some problems on the first method here. So starting with number 1. Before I even read the problem, I'm going to set up my proportion. I always have 100 down here, and got to figure out where my two numbers go. So I have to look at these two numbers and know which is, if it's a part, a whole, or a percent. What percent? So I know I'm looking for the percent, that's my x. What percent of 50 is 41? So we're taking 41 out of 50. 50 is the whole, 41 is the part. So what percent of 50 is 41? So 41 is the part. And then to solve proportions, we cross multiply. So I take 50 times x, and that equals, when I take 41 times 100. So I multiply those together, and that's the equation I get. And then to solve, you're always going to have a number times x. And to undo that multiplication, you do the opposite by dividing. So you divide by 50 to cancel those out. And what you do on one side, we do to the other side. So divide that side by 50 as well. And then use your calculator. And you can take 4100 divided by 50 to get 82. So my answer is 82. Now check, is it percent? What percent? Oh, it is percent. So I need to add a percent sign. So always double check what you're trying to find. Does it make sense? 41 is pretty close to 50. It should be a high percent. So yes, it makes sense. Alright, number 2. I'm going to set up my proportion and figure out where my numbers go. 34 is 85% of what amount? So 85 is my percent. The percent always goes over 100. Now I have to figure out if 34 is the part or the whole. So 34 is 85% of what? So 34 is the part, because I'm taking 34 out of what amount? So that this is the whole, right? 34 is 85%. So that's the percent we're taking out of the whole. So I'm trying to find the whole here. 34 is the part I'm taking out. So 34 is 85 of what whole? Okay, there's my proportion. I cross multiply. So x times 85 equals 34 times 100. So I'm going to multiply those together. And just like before, to solve for x, this is 85 times x. Undo times by dividing by 85. What we do to one side, we do to the other side. So these cancel. And I take 3400 divided by 85. And I get 40. So let's see if that makes sense. 34 is 85% of what amount? 40 makes sense because 85% is a large number, so it should be close to the whole. 34 is close to 40. That answer makes sense, so it must be right. Alright, number 3. I set up my proportion. What is 86%? Okay, my percent goes over 100. What is 86% of 550? So here I'm taking out 86% of this. I'm taking it out of 550. So 550 is the whole. And I want to know how much 86% of that is. So I'm looking for the part. Alright, there's my proportion. I cross multiply. 550 times 86 equals x times 100. Okay, that one I can't do in my head very easily. So I'm going to use my calculator. Get a pretty large number there. And 100 times x is 100x. And then what we're going to do is divide by 100. Okay, this is 100 times x, undo times divide. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. So when you take this number divided by 100, you get 473. Now, does that make sense? 86% of 550. So again, 86 is a large percent. It should be close. It should be over half. 473 is over half. It's close to 550. So it sounds like it's correct. All right, number 4. Set up my proportion. 27 is 9% of what amount? Okay, so 9 is my percent. 27 is 9% of what amount? So 27 is we're taking out of the total. So we're trying to figure out what is the total, and 27 is the 9% we're taking out. So 27 is my part. I'm looking for the whole. Cross multiply. X times 9 equals 27 times 100. So I get 9x equals 2700 when I multiply those together. And to solve for x, 9 times x, undo times by dividing by 9 on both sides. Okay, so you're going to take 2700, divide by 9. I get 300. Does that make sense? 27 is 9%. That's a really small percent, so it must be a very large number. And it is a large number for 27. So that's almost 10%, and 10% of this would be 30. So yeah, my answer makes sense. Okay, set this up. 72 is my percent, so it goes over 100. What is 72% of 150? So of 150, that's the total. We're trying to find 70% out of that. So we're looking for the part. So I take 150 times 72 equals x times 100. Multiply those together. And x times 100 is 100x. So to solve for x, we're going to divide by 100 on both sides, of course. And when I divide this by 100, I get 108. Now, does that answer make sense? 108 is less than 150, but over half. 72% is more than 50%, over half. So yeah, our answer makes sense. Okay, let's do one more. Okay, 53%, so that goes over 100. 530 is 53% of what amount? So we're taking, this is the 53, we're taking out 53%. Taken out of the whole, we're looking at of what amount, we're looking for the whole. So 530 is a part. That's very large. That's 53%. Our answer is going to be like over 1,000. This is about half, so our answer is going to be 1,000 something. Okay, cross multiply. 53 times x equals 530 times 100. So then after we multiply, we divide. So I'll show you that when you divide this by 53, you're going to get 1,000. Which makes sense. I knew it was going to be around 1,000. Alright, now for the next method. So if you do this method, go ahead and stop here. You're done with your little video review. Now for everyone else. Okay, the other method we learned, I'm going to start on the second page. Make sure it says D. We learned that you can make this into an equation. Of means multiply. Is means equals. And when it says what number, what percent, what amount, that's what we're looking for. That's our variable x. So what percent, that's what I'm looking for, of is multiply. 100 is means equals, and then I put 44. So we write these equations and then we can solve them. So x times 100, undo multiplication, you have to divide by 100. What we do to one side, we do to the other. These cancel, and you take 44 divided by 100. And you're going to get in your calculator 0.44. So remember, if I'm asking for what percent, you move the decimal over twice, and you get 44%. Because think about it. What percent of 100 is 44? 44% makes sense, not 0.44. That would be way too small. So be careful if it's asking for a percent. You got to move the decimal. Okay, 115. So you write it in direct order. Is means equals. Percent. Remember, write it as a decimal. 23% is 0.23. Of means to multiply. And what number is our variable, our x? So we have 0.23 times x. To undo times, we divide. So they cancel out. What we do to one side, we do to the other side. These cancel. And then I use my calculator. And I take 115 divided by 0.23. And I get 500. Now think, does that answer make sense? 115 is 23%. So that's not very much. Our number is going to be big. Out of 500, so that's a pretty big number, so that makes sense. Okay, I write my number 462 is, so I write equals, percent, so you write as a decimal, 0.56. Of means to multiply. What amount is what I'm looking for, so I put an x. Okay, undo this multiplication by dividing by 0.56. Remember, got to get x by itself, so we divide that number that's in front of x. And what you do to one side, you have to do to the other side to get our answer. So I got 825. Does it make sense? 462 is 56%, so that's about half. So yeah, that's around half of 825. So our answer makes sense. Okay, what percent? That's what we're looking for. Of, multiply, 280 is means equals, and 238. Undo this multiplication by dividing by 280. Do the same to the other side so that those cancel. So 238 divided by 280, 0.85. Now remember, that's a small number. What percent? Move the decimal over twice. 85%. Don't forget to think about that. Look, what percent of 280 is 238? That's really close. It should be a big percent. 0.85 is tiny. A big percent. 85% makes much more sense. So what percent? X of means times 500 is equals. So I can write that right out like that. Divide by 500 on both sides to get x by itself. .93. When you get that decimal, remember what percent? 93%. That makes much more sense. This is a high number. It should be close. Let's do one more real fast. What, that's our x, is equals 91%, right as a decimal, 0.91, of is times and 100. So this time you don't have to solve for x. Look, it says x equals this. You just multiply those together. 0.91 times 100. So I know x equals 91. Which makes sense, right? 91% of 100 would be 91. That's how you do that method. All right, good luck everyone.